I think the whole luxury scene just imploded in real time. My feed turns into a live-action heist movie. One second it's a normal Tuesday scroll, the next it's shaky phone footage of masked crews sprinting out of the Melbourne Crown Casino LV boutique. They're lugging $4 Neverfulls like they're grocery bags. Alarms shriek, security guards slip on broken glass, and bystanders freeze up with that "should I run or film?" stare. 2 weeks later, Paris gets nailed. Same. Routine. Ram raiders smash the Saint Germain storefront, riot boots crunch through the window, and somebody screams, "Grab the trunks!" Before sirens drown them out, cops are scattered, outnumbered, totally lost. People on the street whisper the same word: panic. Nobody cares about the price tag anymore. They just want a piece before it all disappears. And all this chaos, allegedly, kicks off because Chinese factories just slammed the door on Louis XV, yanked the power cord, and said, "We're done." The first smash and grab was the spark. Now we're standing in a full-blown firestorm, but that was only the opening blast. Let's talk about the real bomb that set everything off.
Birkin bag at Hermes boutique will cost you 38,000 USD. But what is the real cost out of the factory? Today, I'm going to break it down in front of you, step by step. First thing first, Hermes only use the leathers from the 3 top-level suppliers. One is called Muti from Italy. The second is Weinheim from Germany, and the third is Baz from France. One piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost 450 USD. And one piece of the leather is only enough to make one Birkin, okay? The thread. And of course, for Hermes Birkin, the thread is also the best top level. It's called Fil al Chinois from France. This is actually the Rolls Royce in thread. For each bag, the cost is 25 USD. And then the hardware. See, this hardware is called 316 hardware. It's also known as the ocean stainless steel because it can withstand the erosion of seawater. It's the best stainless steel. For one piece of bag, the hardware will cost 150 USD. The edge oil. This edge oil is imported from Italy. It's called heat sealed edge oil. For each bag, it will cost 50 USD. The interior lining, it used lambskin imported from France. For each bag, the cost will be 100 USD. And also inside, there is a zipper from Riri brand. And the zipper for one bag is 10 USD.
Late April, a Guangdong workshop boss whips out his phone and drops a TikTok that nukes LV's image in 60 seconds. He looks dead serious, stares straight at the camera, and says, "We stitch 80% of your French-made bags. Not anymore. We quit." That video hits millions of views overnight. Comments go wild. Some cheer him on, others freak out about their pre-orders. Then the dominoes fall. 6 more factories jump in, post their own clips, and flex rooms jammed with unsold monogram panels. They announce fire sale live streams, cutting the Louis V price to basically cost. From their point of view, why keep feeding a company that marks up their labor by 1,000%? I think this is the moment LV's supply chain snaps. Imagine the conveyor belt that fuels a $400 billion empire, and now every worker's streaming your secrets, selling factory fresh bags for half price, and laughing at the brand tax you thought was sacred. Global resale sites explode. Gray market Telegram channels flood with links, and loyal customers start rethinking every dime they spent, and the backlash spirals even faster. Louis Vuitton built its whole myth on Paris workshops, candlelit leather tables, old craftsmen in white coats. Cool story. Reality, tariffs, shipping headaches, and a brutal labor crunch already shoved a huge chunk of that work overseas. Most shoppers shrugged until the factories went rogue and bragged about it on TikTok. Now LV's execs are locked in a Paris war room, staring at numbers that don't line up. Orders are frozen, components are stranded in ports and warehouse. Managers are yelling for inventory that no longer exists. If even 30% of stitching just stops, flagship stores stand half empty within weeks. Shareholders smell the smoke before the fire sprinklers go off. LVMH stock wobbles like jelly on a hot dashboard. Analysts slash buy ratings overnight. The brand's perfect polished veneer, cracked, chipped, basically shattered. And while board members argue about damage control, shoppers stampede for the last bags on the shelf, convinced the era of easy flexing is over. And shoppers, they're not waiting politely.
Most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah, I'm telling you. But why these luxury brands never tell you that? Because they are trying to pretend to be products of some sophisticated European countries like Italy or France.
We are going to be successful. In a few weeks, the shop was open. We sell the most expensive products in a country where everybody was going by bicycle.
A slowdown and a contraction in the global luxury market. About 50 million people either opted out or were forced out of the luxury market over the past 2 years.
I do feel people started to get tired of purchasing products and realize that we just bought too much and it didn't really make us happy.
I think this is when it stopped being just a rumor and became a full-blown global meltdown. The second people even heard the words Louis Vuitton is shutting down production, they lost their minds. We're talking lineups outside boutiques like it's Black Friday meets Doomsday. Customers sprint into stores yelling, "Last chance," and start ripping bags off shelves like canned food before a hurricane. It's wild. At Fashion Island in California, a flash mob gang hits the LV store in broad daylight. Security footage shows 3 getaway SUVs circling like sharks before the crash team rushes in. They're out in under 90 seconds, bags flying, glass everywhere, and people screaming in the mall. It wasn't subtle. That video goes viral instantly. TikTok turns it into a meme. You've got influencers joking about how fast you'd run if Neverfulls went extinct. And it's not just isolated incidents anymore. Paris, LA, Toronto, even Seoul, they're all getting hit. Some stores start locking customers inside while others straight up shutter. And here's the weird part, people are claiming employees. At some locations unlock the doors and quietly let looters in. Whether that's real or just people hyping themselves up online, the damage is done. The narrative is chaos. I think the scariest part for LV isn't the stolen inventory, it's that the brand lost its grip on the narrative. Louis Vuitton always thrived on control. Control over image, over price, over access. But now, the vibe has flipped from luxury exclusive to grab what you can before the ship sinks. When a $4,000 bag becomes a street free-for-all, the luxury mystique dies instantly. You can't sell prestige when everyone's watching your name get yanked out of broken windows, and the celebrity set isn't spared. If you think celebrities are immune from this mess, you're delusional. I think the LV fallout is actually worse for the A-list than anyone else. Their entire image relies on carefully curated brands, and Louis Vuitton is one of the biggest names they've attached themselves to. So when that name gets dragged through viral chaos, they're forced to pivot fast. Rihanna walks into an NYC studio, and guess what's on her arm? Not a Louis, not even something niche. It's a vintage Chanel. That's not random. That's a loud, calculated message to distance herself from the brand without saying a word. Paparazzi go nuts. Style blogs zoom in on the stitching. Twitter floods with hot takes. And Kim K doesn't even play subtle. She posts a reel in custom Balenciaga, tosses the caption "Authenticity matters more than labels," and lets it sit. Her fans go ballistic. Half the comments are decoding her message like it's a conspiracy. The other half are dragging LV in the replies. Then there's Pharrell, who's not just a celebrity, he's the creative director for LV Men's. This isn't just bad optics for him, it's a career earthquake. Gossip channels are saying he had no clue the manufacturing split was coming. Supposedly, he's blowing up Bernard Arnault's phone in back-to-back emergency calls, asking what the hell is going on. You don't want to be the face of a brand during a breakdown you didn't cause. I think Pharrell is realizing that being the artistic lead doesn't mean you're actually in control. This whole thing proves how quickly luxury loyalty evaporates when the brand gets exposed. Celebs are jumping ship not because they want to, but because they have to. Every single red carpet, every Instagram endorsement, every effortless street-style photo, it all hinges on the illusion that the brand they're wearing is untouchable. LV is no longer untouchable. It's being touched, grabbed, looted, and live streamed. And for celebrities, that's a PR nightmare. And headquarters, they finally unsheathed the lawyers. LVMH didn't take the hit lying down. I think they freaked out, hard, and tried to throw every legal weapon they had at the problem. The second those factory TikToks started gaining traction, they went into defense mode. We're talking cease and desist letters being fired off like spam emails. Factory owners in China allegedly got slammed with threats accusing them of trademark violations, unauthorized distribution, and what LVMH is calling industrial sabotage. They want everything taken down, silenced, erased, but it's too late. That cat isn't just out of the bag, it set the bag on fire and is dancing around it for likes. Every new lawsuit just makes more people curious. Who are these manufacturers? Why are they selling LV bags for 90% off? Is the brand really lying about where its products come from? What was meant to be a cleanup campaign is now a public relations dumpster fire. Insiders are whispering about a midnight board meeting held in total panic mode. Apparently, execs argued for hours about whether to freeze all global shipments just to stop the bleeding. Can you imagine that? The top brand in the world pulling product off shelves, not because they're sold out, but because they're scared. That's not damage control, that's survival mode, and even if they shut one factory down, 5 more pop up with screenshots, shipping receipts, and even more tea. The lawsuits didn't shut people up, they just turned the whole situation into an even bigger spectacle. LVMH wanted to kill the conversation. Instead, they accidentally made it go viral. I think this might be the first time Louis Vuitton truly lost control of its own brand, and rival houses start sweating bullets. I think what's happening to Louis Vuitton is terrifying the entire luxury industry. The second their pedestal starts to crack, everyone else standing on the same marble floor gets nervous. Dior, Fendi, Balmain, even Gucci, they're all tied to the same dirty little secret: outsourcing. Different brand, same ports, same factories, same system. And if one part of that supply chain exposes you, it exposes everyone. Analysts are already warning this could be the beginning of an industry-wide collapse in trust. Jing Daily called it a potential luxury reset, and honestly, I think they're right. The myth of handcrafted European luxury is dissolving. All it took was one group of fed-up manufacturers with a phone and a Wi-Fi signal to show the whole system is smoke and mirrors. Fashion editors are now whispering about the next wave being post-luxury minimalism. People are saying screw logos, screw overpriced flexes. They want real value, real stories, real transparency. If you've got $5,000 to spend, why throw it at a brand that can't even tell you who made your bag without lawyering up? The truth is, heritage brands got lazy. They relied on legacy and prestige, assuming no one would ever dare question the fantasy. But now the fantasy is cracked wide open. You've got fashion houses scrambling to double check their own factories, their labels, their country of origin tags, terrified they'll be next. I think this is a wake-up call for the old guard. The castles they built, they're made of sand, not stone, and the tide just came in. So where does that leave us? Picture? Emptied LV shelves, viral bootlegs flooding TikTok, and celebrities scrambling for new alignments. Maybe LVMH negotiates a hush-hush truce with the factories. Maybe they drag production fully back to Europe and jack prices higher. Or maybe the spell finally breaks and consumers decide a stitched-up status symbol isn't worth the circus. I think this saga proves one point: when the people who actually build the luxury decide to speak, the whole empire trembles. Your move, Louis.